We have to see these as interconnected, interrelated issues. We continue to make that case domestically, and we continue to lead on that internationally. And the work's not done. We will continue to reach higher.
Thank you. Jack Dutton from our Monitor. My question is for Ali. What is the Biden administration doing to increase the transparency of the fossil fuel industry, including the US shale majors? And what can countries in this region of the world, some of which are ramping up production capacity of their oil, learn from the Biden administration's approach?
So transparency is a critical first element in the right direction. We got to understand what the nature of the problem is, and then we start to tackle it. If you rewind in time in U.S. public policy, it took us a few years of collecting data and information collection requests that helped lay the foundation for understanding what the scope and scale of the methane problem was. And now we're doing the next thing, the important thing, which is to figure out how we rigorously and systematically reduce those emissions. That's got to be the case in both public policy and in, I think, effective discharge of fiduciary duties. And I think you're seeing this in the capital markets. Increasing demand not just for transparency and disclosure, but also for clarity around how entities are going to manage this risk and reduce that risk in a systematic fashion. To me, what that looks like is, number one, on the transparency side, having really clear rules of accounting on the disclosure of Scope 1, Scope 2, and frankly, also Scope 3 emissions. That helps us get our arms around not just the problem, but also the opportunity. The second is creating the incentive environment for strong decision-making to bend the curve on all of those. In the United States, through the Inflation Reduction Act, the largest investment in climate and clean energy, not just in U.S. history, but the world, we are creating that incentive environment. And I think as a result, we're seeing balance sheets that were for too long leveraged only to increase emissions now look at, or in best case scenarios, pivot to deploying clean energy solutions. But the measure here is not going to be the gloss of the greenwash. The measure here is going to be the reduction in emissions and the gigawatts of clean capacity that's deployed. We have to be clear-eyed and relentless about that.
And I'd just like to add on the transparency, if I can, for the panel. With the standard set of rules implemented by the feds, case in point, New Mexico, right? We do any number of dashboards so that you can see what's going on, including our accountability measures. And I've got, like I said, Secretary Kenny here, and in short order, we're looking at a way that on your cell phone, any New Mexican can tell where a methane leak is and how long it takes us to resolve that particular problem. We have to do that universally. You can't do it unless we have this. We have apples to apples. And quite frankly, this is the only way to do that, is to have a federal framework. So for us in particular, while all states love bragging rights, so thank you very much, this is excellent. We can't do our part to support the nation unless we're all doing it similarly, and then we have data points that are meaningful, because without that, we don't. And that is, I think, just as important and critical to the commitments that the U.S. is making on all fronts.
We're just a little over time, so we got
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.